Hi, I'm Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. And this is part 2 of a video that I put out yesterday that got really very long, so I thought I had better divide it up into 2 parts. And it's about how to buy more effective Christmas presents, really, based on comments from my Facebook group, My Secondhand and Frugal Life. So I asked them the question about which Christmas gifts would be least welcome, which they used the least, which they didn't understand why people had bought them, and that they thought were a waste of money, and then perhaps they had to re-gift, or they maybe donated them to charity, or maybe sold them online. And it was quite a topic, and it was a really, really long thread. So I was sharing the first half of it yesterday on my channel, and then I realised it just got far, far too long to be one video. So here's the second half. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll leave the link to part 1 below. Sinead says, second the scented candles. Every teacher knows what I'm talking about. Or teachers get a lot of gifts like that, don't they? My sister actually works in a school. She's not a teacher, but she is the secretary in the school. She gets so many gifts that she just gives to charity, and it's a private school, so some of them are really nice quality. Bits of stuff she doesn't want, still nice quality. Trinket says Kitty. Maggie says ditto on toiletries. Elizabeth agrees on the books that I haven't asked for. Her nieces kindly buy her books they think will appeal, but she never feels like reading them. Alison says ornaments. Liz agrees with the bottles of wine or other alcohol. I don't drink, so it gets regifted. Toiletries, I only use what I use. Plants are good or foodie things. Well, plants are good for some people. I would love plants. I mean, my sister-in-law Elizabeth gave me a plant last year, and it's still alive, and I really like it. She knows I love houseplants, so I really enjoy that, and anything for the garden. You know, people know I like those kind of things, but you've got to make sure that somebody will keep a plant alive. Susan says, my husband was bought a cravat by his mum, never wore one in his life, or never would. That's very particular, isn't it? I actually thought he was Noel Coward. Okay, so Yvonne says, I really detest the whole thing of I have to make a gift for X, Y or Z. So many are not required or appreciated, and the whole gift-giving process is completely out of hand. And, you know, I think a lot of people agree with this, especially if you haven't got a lot of money. You know, you think, why am I spending money I don't really have buying gifts that people aren't going to appreciate? You finished bouncing my camera around. The quality wasn't great before you joined in. Sue says ornaments or jewellery, unless they know my taste really well, but she actually really likes getting toiletries. Elizabeth says chocolates, can't eat any dairy products. That's another thing, but just knowing who you're buying for, not making assumptions. Carla can't stand toiletries, bric-a-brac or scented candles. God, those candles, don't buy any candles. That's come up so many times during this thread. Alison got given a head massager. She's never had a massage and never said, I'd love a massage, let alone a head massager. She hates it when people give a gift and they've opened it to check everything before they give it. She doesn't get that. I don't get that either, because if you open it, that means somebody can't return it. Oh my goodness, this cat. So no, I've never had that. I've never had somebody open it to check it's okay. I just have to move this cat, I think. Lola, come here, stop being annoying. Chocolate unless it's dairy free, says Janetta. Jan Moore, bath bombs when you only have a shower. That's very true. Bath bombs or bubble bath. Katie says, I once got given a box of Aldi low-calorie cereal bars. Sorry, that's really funny. Don't know why that's tickled me, but it really has. Oh dear, what are you saying? Meg says, anything re-gifted that's obviously been re-gifted several times, especially smelly things, including candles and toiletries. I've already made that point, I think. Oh, will you stop? She's now attacking me. Look, YouTube are watching you attacking me now. Go away. I think you need to go somewhere else. She gets kind of over passionate, and then when you don't want her to be stroked, she goes. Anyway, you see. Oh, I'm just going to get rid of the cat. Good grief, I've had to shut her out. She's driving me mad. Okay, so Hazel gives money and an ice card. Much easier. Only buy clothes for the children. Denny says, hello, I watch you on YouTube. Hi Denny, hope you're watching this. I hate smelly candles, they make me cough. I am the same with some of them. And because I had a pug, people always buy me pug stuff. No more pug mugs, please. Yeah, I mean, it's going back to the cat thing, isn't it? I mean, probably if somebody bought me a mug with Archie's face on it, I'd be really happy. But after one, you don't want it anymore, do you? Not Lola's, though, because she just scratched me, so I've gone off her. Jackie doesn't like anything highly scented, as my husband can't handle it and never has been able to, especially candles, although I love them. Toiletries skincare sets now have very sensitive skin. Another one. Elizabeth perfume. Bronwyn toiletries, candles, clothes, alcohol, books. All the things we've said, aren't they? All the things that in the article I read were likely to be returned after Christmas. Actually, I don't mind it. If they are returned, then at least you know that they bought themselves something they like. But isn't it better not to have to make them go to that trouble? Many years ago, says Lynn, my ex bought me a hands-free phone holder for my car. I was less than delighted. You know, again, I wouldn't mind that. I actually wouldn't mind that because I use my phone for sat-nav facility. So actually having it kind of being held firmly in place would be good. Linda says, once I was given snow chains for my tyres from my husband. Looking back, it shows his concerns for my safety, but snow chains, ... Our sons gave me a gift card for a spa day. I don't go to spas. The idea of strangers touching is just icky. Again, I would love that. I would like a spa day. Give me a spa day, I don't mind that. Jackie says, packets of ice, gems and balloons from my step-gran. She just took them from her stockroom. I was 16. Doesn't really... There's not a lot of thought there, is there? If you're going to take something from the stockroom, let her come and choose something. Mary got a mini handheld TV from her ex. I took it back because it was as much use as a chocolate teapot. It had an aerial on it like a radio, so I had to walk around to get a signal. I think I remember those. I think I got one for review years and years ago when I used to work for a magazine, and it was useless, honestly. The idea, it was before the internet kind of took off and before you could get Wi-Fi, and it was useless, so I can imagine that's a similar thing. Then there was the sheepskin coat. Nearest it had got to a sheep would have been walking past one. The thought was good, but the price he paid for it, well, ... So I took that back and got the money back. It's all right if it's your husband, you can say that's not the right thing. With Justin, I literally just sent him a link. Justin's really rubbish at buying presents. He doesn't have a clue. He doesn't know what to buy. He just doesn't know. Well, I say that. Every now and then he'll get a little gem, but normally not for Christmas or for a birthday, just because he's seen something he thinks I would like and he gets it right. But if he's under pressure, he really struggles with it. So, you know, he wouldn't buy me anything without checking first. So many of along the same lines. Flavoured gins, a handbag mirror, scarves, cheap wine, says Paula. I have over the years stopped buying presents for others, normally by mutual decision making. I know I'm difficult to buy for, but I really hate waste and unnecessary presents. Beverly says cute mugs that probably contain lead. I hadn't even thought of that. Surely not. You never know now, do you? Come from China, you don't know what they contain. Fuzzy blankets, socks and clothes that turn crunchy after washing. Margie says, all the same, as above, but the absolute worst was my ex giving me a cheap pillow set. Glynis says biscuit chocolate sweeties. I'd much rather have something useful, like a new apron or gloves. But again, you know, I'd be worried about buying someone an apron, unless they'd ask for it. And gloves, you know, it'd have to go with whatever they're wearing, their coats and that kind of thing. Jennifer says, my dad likes to buy me a surprise gift each year. I've told him before to only get what I've asked for, a diary and shower gel, as I hate waste, both in terms of money and consumerism. Every year he buys me a really cheap handbag. He cuts the tag off it and never gives me the receipt. So I end up selling it on eBay for peanuts. I'm really not an ungrateful person, but I really hate waste. He gives my husband money. That's quite infuriating, isn't it? That's very strange. Debbie says, the moment the C word is mentioned, I mention fluffy socks and Dove soap. I use both. Folk don't waste money on fripperies and they don't get wasted. Judith Evans hates fridge magnets. Yeah, they are kind of odd, aren't they, thing to buy somebody. Denise doesn't like the Bayliss and Harding gift sets again. Bath bombs, jokes, slippers. Yeah, especially dinosaur feet with claws that got wrapped around table legs and door frames. Those joke slippers, they were big for a few years, but they were completely impractical, weren't they? You'd break your neck wearing them. I don't see them as much now, but I'm sure they still exist. I think if you're going to buy somebody a pair of slippers, A, check that they need slippers, but Buy them really good quality ones that are going to last a few years, not just rubbish ones that they're not going to want to wear or are going to fall apart in 3 minutes flat. I told my daughter, says Susan, I told my daughter last year, only gardening or sewing gifts, which I write on a list. And she doesn't mind the odd bit of chocolate as well. Wendy says, don't buy me excess amounts of chocolates. I'm doing Slimming World and I inevitably end up giving them to my friends' kids. Wendy says, don't buy me bath products. I don't have a bathtub. I only have a shower. Another one that says bubble bath and bath bombs are a waste of money. Heather says, I'm still scarred from childhood when given a hand-knitted school jumper by an aunt. Those kind of things used to happen all the time, didn't they? In the olden days, and I'm probably just about old enough to remember that. What does Cara say? I've never had a bad gift. I've had some that I stored to use later, but eventually they all get used lovingly. Some accidentally get broken. Liz says, a really awful night dress from M&S from my mother-in-law. Asked her if she didn't want any more grandchildren. Tracy runs Secret Santa. Oh, she uses Elfster. That's what my sister uses for her Secret Santa. So this way, everyone gets something they want and we don't have to bankrupt ourselves at Christmas. I guess you put a limit on the spending on those things as well. Izzy says, when my child was asked what he got for Christmas, he said nothing I wanted, and I'd really tried. He never got into Santa. I asked how he could do better and he said he would just prefer money, so that's what's worked ever since, along with the stocking. Yeah, well, if that's what your child wants and will use and they prefer to buy their own presents, I think that's fair enough. Linda says, I'm diabetic. Everyone knows I'm diabetic, but my sister-in-law buys me chocolates and biscuits every year. I just, honestly, I would think I would actually have to say, look, please don't buy me chocolate and biscuits because you're not buying for me, you're buying for everybody else that's here. I think I would have to say, if you know somebody's diabetic, don't buy them chocolate and biscuits. It's a bit like the ashtrays, isn't it? It kind of gets a bit insultingly thoughtless, really. Oh, Paula says, my dear husband bought me a set of car mats. And Bernice says, well, mine did too one year, but I actually asked for them. Fair enough if you asked for them. Caroline says, I got a book about geese. The only link I consider that we just moved to Nottingham, which has a goose fair. But I dislike large birds, geese included. So random. That is a bit random, isn't it? A book about geese. Kaz says, no ornaments, no sets, and no gift cards. I have a Lush one I haven't used in over a year. See, I would use a Lush gift card, but she just doesn't use her gift cards, so they're wasted on her. John Lewis or Amazon or anything. And a lot of people don't like gift cards, really say just don't. I mean, we mentioned the Laura Ashley one. Somebody else said, New Look ones I've never used. See, I would probably use New Look ones, but because they do some basics in there. Julia says, my mother-in-law gave me tan tights, even though I never wear skirts, let alone with tights. I'm convinced she was making a point. And she always returned anything I'd given her, no matter what it was. So I took to giving her things I'd like to receive. I thought she meant return them to the shop, but she actually means return them to her. So she took to buying her things she'd like to receive. That way I had something nice to look forward to in January. I think that's awful. That if somebody gives you something, you return it to them. I just think that's bizarre. I actually checked that's what Julia meant, and she did. I said, well, she returned the gift you gave her back to you and gave you tan tights you knew you wouldn't wear. She says, yeah, hard to figure really, ain't it? That is, I mean, God. What relationship to have with your mother-in-law. That's a bit sad, isn't it? So Kerry says, I forgot to mention craft presents. Anything I can do, make, play with is a winner for me. Again, it's about knowing the recipient, isn't it? Somebody says her sister gave her this years ago. Let me see if I can show you it. It's like some sort of weird fetishistic Jack in the Box or something. Looks like a dominatrix. So she gave it to her years ago. It's been buried under other stuff and it's so horrible I can't even donate it. Her friend's little one cried when she saw it. The stuff of nightmares. That's what I mean about just buying took for the sake of it. Don't just buy stupid stuff for people that you don't think that they'll like. Joke presents for me are a complete waste of everything. Money, resources, everything. Pauline said she got a saucepan once and other people say at least it was useful. Somebody said they got given a Le Creuset pan and she was delighted. Well, that's what I bought for my daughter last year, and she was delighted. That's what she asked for, a pink one. I had to scour eBay for a pink one and found a really good one second hand. It was the colour of my dresser. She loves it. Fee says, ornaments, I don't have any, and I'm really baffled that people who know me would buy me them. I take stuff to a charity shop. I have to be really careful as they might see what they've bought there. She goes to another town to donate. Faith isn't a big fan of scented candles, although those diffuser reeds, and they're not good if you've got animals either. Una says, my least favourite has to be cardboard boxes containing about 5 sachets of drinking chocolate buried in a pile of straw. I can't imagine the giver really knew what she was giving me. I hope not. Anyway, yeah, that might be one of those things you buy through the post and think, I'll just get them, oh yeah, a hot chocolate bundle or something. Without seeing it, you're better off putting together your own hot chocolate bundle if you know people like that kind of thing. Somebody said she got a used candle once. What's worse than a candle for Christmas? A used candle for Christmas. Teresa's ex-husband bought her an iron and a pressure cooker. Again, the things that, if you don't want them, if you haven't asked for them, they're not the sort of things you should buy. A pressure cooker's a bit random because you either use those things or you don't. Somebody said she was once given a gift like this and said, how thoughtful to think of our home. Now where's my present? Ruby says, I can't figure out if I'm chronically hard to please or just a magnet for awful gifts, but I haven't got anything in years that I liked. Every year I ask for a bookstore voucher and I get a paperback lurid murder mystery instead. That's really weird. If somebody asks for a bookstore voucher and you buy them, you choose the book for them. I think that's a bit annoying. Jackie got 3 different torches and a dictaphone because her husband forgot to get anything and Halfords was the only place open. For me, an IOU would be better. An IOU, if you forget, then you could make a card with a restaurant on it and do an IOU for a meal out. Or go and get a gift like a cream tea, an experience gift, something that you can get online and wrap up in a card and put a little rosette on the top of it or something like that. Rose says she donates to charity instead of giving presents. I don't need anything, so I'm happy for the family to do the same for me. Liv says, my little brother bought a comb for our grandfather. He was completely bald. Sorry, that's just so funny, but that sounds like a child, but that's hilarious. Somebody's put, maybe he had hairy arms. Oh dear, it's getting a bit out of hand, this. Karen says, getting back to reality now, I feel sad if someone spends their hard-earned money on a gift I don't need. I usually tell people I don't need anything. Then if pressed, I'll think of something, usually garden centre vouchers. Yeah, I'd go with that as well. Mum-in-law gave me a bracelet in a box and the name on the box was Olivia, not my name. She'd won it in a golfing raffle. Sarah says, the least welcome gift is the one I received after being specifically asked what I wanted and then I was given something different. My mother-in-law does this all the time, even when we give her links to products. Yeah, why ask if you're not going to use them? Karen says that we just do Secret Santa nowadays as we have a large family. One decent present, then it's the kids. They still get presents. It's the same as we do. Pauline says a book token is a good present for me, but it's such a personal gift. I think she means a book is such a personal gift. That's why as a token is useful. A bit boring maybe, but it'll be used. I don't think that is not boring. I mean, I buy books all year round because I belong to a book group, so I would use that. Diana says she's grateful for any gift. And, we shouldn't, I'm laughing at some of these, but really you've always got to remember there's a thought behind it. Madeline says, my husband bought me a book for my 40th birthday called How to Cope with the Menopause. He still thinks it was a thoughtful gift. I think that's a bit early, and it's not really a gift, is it? That's just, you can buy that for someone because they're hitting the menopause and they've talked to you about it, not for a Christmas gift. And not when you're 40, because most women are not quite there yet. Joanne says, I hate getting gifts in general. Having too much stuff stresses me out. But I'm an excellent gift giver, so people always feel they should give me something in return. But they always miss the mark. Socks, toiletries, candles, chocolates, anything that screams panic buy, really. But if someone got me a taxidermy animal, I'd be in heaven. Justin would like that. I would think that was the most hideous present you could ever have, ever. At Justin's mum's house, they have an owl that they got a taxidermist to stuff. I think they found it on the road. It had been hit by a car. And it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but really it's better in a natural history museum. I would not want that looking at me in the corner of my living room. Somebody doesn't like Spar gift cards. Again, I love it. Somebody says, a mug please, or a tea set, tar. I guess she would like that, as Jenny. And she'd like a scarf, slippers, gloves, towels, bed sets, handbags, tar. I think she thinks we're looking for ideas for her. Let's hope her relatives are reading this or listening to this. Oh, my friend once went in my drawer for something, says Alex. She'd asked her to go in her drawer. She turned and looked at me questioningly. I bought you these soaps, and there are so many others in here. Don't you like them? The trouble was I did like them. They smelled lovely. However, my skin hated them. I'm allergic to soap. My drawers and cupboards smelled great. Oh, well, it's not a good way for your friend to find that out, but maybe you should tell her so she doesn't keep buying you them. Joan says, I found people love receiving homemade gifts. I crochet. A few years ago, I made lots of friends rag tie wreaths. They come out every year, so keep them up. Some keep them up all year. Yeah, I would like that. I love crocheted things. If somebody crocheted me something nice, I think I'd like that. And people do like some homemade gifts. It depends how skilled you are, doesn't it, really? Gifts really appreciated by Jen are book tokens. The book tokens do seem to be popular, so other tokens not so much, but book tokens, yes. A latest book by a favourite author, they have to know you. Gloves, because I tend to lose them. Or a donation to a favourite charity. Lynn said she got, this is one of her worst gifts, 3 pairs of knickers and a packet of 5. Moira says, me and my sister were both given a jelly mould my mother got free at bingo. I remember my grandparents, I've probably mentioned this before, buying me a blue plastic, or it might have been pink plastic, me and my sister got one each, vanity set, so a hairbrush, a mirror and a comb one year, and we loved them. I remember it as being one of the best things I ever got. However, we got them for about 2 or 3 years after. We got the same thing, to the point where we were like, wonder if we're going to get another one for Christmas this year. My mum was annoyed, and then she said she's clearly bought a job lot, the grandparents, and they're forgetting who they're giving them to. So I think Mum got cross about it. I mean, we just ended up regifting them to our friends because we'd liked them. Emily's sister once bought her a book on how to get rid of cellulite and a pair of thongs that had the label XXL on them. That's kind of insulting. Yeah, Julianne says, don't buy me toiletries and candles. PJs and slippers are my favourite gift to receive. Now, they've come up a few times, haven't they, as being good gifts. But I think if you're going to buy pyjamas or slippers, you need to make sure you get the right size, and you need to not buy novelty ones. So a really nice pair of pyjamas, a nice set of pyjamas and a nice pair of slippers. But I think you've got to know the person quite well to buy those. So that's everything on that thread. I mean, I thought that was a brilliant thread. It was far too much for me to use in my article, but it really got me going on it. And I thought it would be useful because, I've done those things. I've made those mistakes before. I've bought candles, I've bought gift sets, I've bought scarves, I've bought socks. Unless you know the person, then don't waste your money. And then it also begs the question about, how over-commercialised Christmas is, and whether we do need to continue buying loads and loads of stuff and loads of gifts. And, I like receiving gifts. I do. I enjoy it. I enjoy Christmas. I like giving gifts and I enjoy receiving them. But I don't enjoy receiving loads of things. I don't need a lot. There's odd things I like, and I'm sure most people are the same at my age. I mean, I'm sure younger people, they always like money. I don't think you can go wrong. Give them the gift of money. And it's difficult, though, if they're not relatives and you just want to give them a token, then you might think, I can't give £5, that's not enough. But that might be all of you've got budgeted. But I tend to think, well, if you can't afford much, then don't buy them anything, or buy a family gift of chocolates. Make sure they're not lactose intolerant and celiacs and that kind of thing first. So, but just a token gift that you think the family might enjoy. So it's food for thought, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and do let me have your comments below. Let me have your comments, because it's always interesting to get different perspectives, and always know that we are grateful if people buy us something and they've put thought into it particularly. It's great. But if you find you're just getting a lot of thoughtless gifts, then maybe now is the time to suggest that you stop buying gifts and maybe do a Secret Santa instead, because that works really, really well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was a bit long. I'm sorry the quality of the camera work is not brilliant. And that the cat kept buffing the camera. And I will hopefully see you in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon. Bye for now.